So isn't it true that that's the step that most people just have not taken, is that step that I'm just going to believe it before I see it, right?
It is, but that's why it's like Esther has a tickle in her throat, and before it gets too strong, she's going to allow us to suck on this. It's a little bit like that. In other words, when you have an inkling about something, you can sort of tell where it's going, can't you? You can sort of tell where it's going. So if Esther catches this before she starts snorting into the microphone, it's much better than if she waits until after. All things are that way. You can tell by the way you feel what your vicinity is to where you really want to be. You can tell when you're moving away from it. You can tell when you're moving toward it, you see. Okay. Now, bring us back around to where you were going, because we like the direction of that.
I've just been very happy in the last couple of years. I've manifested all these things that a few years ago I was struggling with, and it just seems I've been getting up every morning with appreciation and faith that the unseen is just as well seen. And I just wanted to confirm that's
a perfect state of being, because when you are appreciative and pleased with where you are and eager for more, it is the perfect vibrational dynamic, because you're still reaching with slight or no resistance, That just makes for the most comfortable, joyous expansion in life.
Yes.
We want to go back to what you were talking about, and what we were talking about the manifested reality. When you said most people want to see it and then they will believe it. And that is the reason that this vortex analogy is so helpful in our teaching of this thing about faith. Is because if we can convince you in the validity of this vibrational precursor, and we can speak of it enough that you will notice in your own life experience, in other words, you can discover on your own the reality of what it feels like when you line up with who you are and what it feels like when you don't. So now it's not faith. It's real. In other words, you can feel the thrill of connection, and you can feel the discord of disconnection. You can feel the thrill and the clarity and the well-being of alignment, and you can feel the discord of not. And so now if we can convince you of the vibrational reality before you see it, but not before you feel it. So faith is reaching for the feeling and then trusting that the manifestation will follow that feeling. And you only need a little bit of faith for a little while, because the manifestation will give you the evidence. In other words, we're not asking you to go on year after year after year. That's what our friend helped us to say as we began here today. Sometimes if you've had something that you've wanted for a really long time and it hasn't manifested, you lose the faith. But it's because you don't understand the laws of the universe, and you're not understanding your own guidance system. When all that clicks into place, faith isn't necessary, because you just know. You don't have to, you're not going on faith. You don't have to convince people, and people don't need you to have faith either, because they're watching things manifest all around you. You reach the point where you barely speak of something, and there it is. You barely acknowledge slight interest in something, and a whole bunch of it shows up in your experience where you can dissect it and enjoy it firsthand, you see. It's wonderful to know about the laws of the universe, and 1,000 times more wonderful to apply them deliberately.
Good. I need your help with understanding a situation. If you would have asked my wife and I a year ago if we wanted children, we would have said, nope, that's, down the road maybe kind of thing. We took every precaution medicine has, and our unborn is 37 weeks full term and here in the room with us now. I'm trying to, thank you. We're all very excited, so we feel totally different than we did a year ago. But I'm wondering, how is she here? What?
So the question we're hearing.
Not literally, but.
The question that we're hearing is, are you saying, Abraham, that there was something that we wanted that was in our vortex that we didn't even know we wanted? In fact, when we say we might want it, but we don't think we do, and we know we don't want it now, and it's on the way, then is there something about this vortex that I need to know? Yes. And here's what it is. Most people define what they do want more in terms of what they don't want. And so it's a really rare person. In fact, we've never met one yet that who could accurately, with any kind of detailed description at all, really describe what's actually in the vortex. And the reason is because you've put it there over such a long period of time, some of it even before you got here into this physical body, most of it since you've been here, but you've put it there incrementally. In other words, when you have a moment with someone that you enjoy, you say, yes, more of that into the vortex. When you know what you don't want, you say, I want something different than that in the vortex. And so what you've actually been putting into your vortex, you've been putting in there incrementally. So Jerry, often as he is editing something that we have recorded, or even editing something that we've written through Esther, he wants to put the word the essence of, because he is understanding that you are always getting the essence of what you want, while not always the specifics of what you want, because most people are resistant to the specifics of the essence of what they really want. Does that make sense to you? In other words, what you really want is, you came as a powerful teacher. And there is nothing more exhilarating than to be a teacher who is parenting at the same time. That was really a powerful intention. And while from your physical what-isness, you might say, well, we're not really ready to give up all of our freedom yet, like you have to an infant, or I'm not sure that I'm wise enough to be a parent. I'm not sure that I know enough about life to really teach. Some of these things are some of the reasons that you were putting it off. But the source within you knows that you certainly are ready and that you certainly are wise. And so many of the other things, because of other things you've lived in life that you've put into your vortex, they all add up to that. You see what we're getting at? Mm-hmm. And there's this other thing. It was an intention that the three of you set into motion even before you came into this physical body. In other words, it really was in the vortex. In fact, we think that's the reason that you felt such a compulsion to try to keep it from happening, because the happening was such a strong draw. Are you following what we're getting at?
I think so.
Not really?
Some of it.
People talk about regulating pregnancies. They talk about preventing pregnancies. They talk about abstinence. They talk about birth control. But what they don't factor in is the powerful calling that the vortex is. In other words, you don't ever need to worry about your population diminishing, because there are intentions that are very powerfully calling forth from within, you see. And so, if that sounds like you're not the creator of your own reality, we don't mean it to sound like that. What we're saying is, you're the creator of the reality that you put into your vortex. And the whole point of this gathering is to figure out who you really are and what it is that you put into your vortex. And the fact that you are over the moon about this now, the fact that you are so in love with the whole idea of it now. In fact, in the moment that you found out, you adjusted immediately. There was no squirming around, and it was like a decision that you'd been sort of playing with was finally made, and there was a relief in the fact that it was even made. Yes? Mm-hmm.
So, what advice for the next, as parents, new parents, what could we...
Well, before we go there, we want to say to everyone, you have all kinds of things in your vortex that you are not yet aware of, because you are vibrationally not in the arena. You're not in the vortex where you can see it. We were visiting with a woman recently. We've been talking about it a bit because it was such a wonderful analogy. She's been wanting to get pregnant for years and not getting pregnant. Wanting to. The opposite of what the two of you were doing. Wanting to be pregnant and not getting pregnant. And then she arrived at the workshop in California announcing that she is now 4 months pregnant. Everyone who knew her was very happy for her. And then as the day went on, we had a wonderful conversation about the pregnancy itself. How even though she is pregnant and the baby is coming for sure, it's not here yet. It's not keeping them up at night yet. She's not rocking it in the rocking chair yet. She's not nursing. She's not taking this baby trick-or-treating yet, which is one of the things she's really looking forward to. In other words, this manifestation has not fully manifested. But her feeling of angst is completely gone. Her feeling of absence of baby is completely gone. Her heartache is over. Her worry is gone because she's pregnant. And we said, your vortex is pregnant with so many things that you want. But you don't look at it that way because you think in terms of manifestation. When babies are in the gestation stage, you understand that. When you have a seed and you put it in the ground and there's no corn yet, but the seed is in the ground before you can even see any bit of the plant, you know that the seed is in the ground. There's all kinds of pre-manifestation or pre-visual evidence that takes place in everything that you know, you see. It's all part of this powerful process. And so, as you understand that it's all in the vortex, that not only is this baby in the vortex, but wonderful parenting is in the vortex. In other words, everything that you want is lined up for you. And because of where you are in terms of your vibrational relationship to the vortex, you'll be there as the conscious, clear receiver of all of it, you see. Every one of you has the ability to, in the words of our friend just now and the words that Esther rarely offers, you are able to channel your broader intelligence, your highest good, your deepest knowing, your fullest love, your fullest appreciation, your fullest worthiness, your best agility, your best vitality, your best timing. In other words, the best of all that you are is swirling, and you have the ability to rendezvous with every bit of it as it comes along. And that is the fun of the adventure of parenting. It's not something that you can figure all out and get all pre-decided and get everything just all lined up. It's like the way everything in the vortex really is, you see. And in fact, we would like to say this baby, more than all other things put together, has led you to the power of your vortex.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
Thank you.
And in the same way that you may have heard us say that if you've got some negative emotion going and you don't notice it and do something about it, don't worry, it will get bigger. And if you still don't notice it and do something about releasing it, don't worry, it will get bigger. And if you still don't worry, it will get bigger until eventually it will manifest. So you're following the idea of that. And then we say, in other words, the law of attraction cannot buck your current. And now we want to apply that on the other end of this. You can't buck your current. In other words, when you've got a strong momentum going, when your vortex is really spinning, when who you are is in there, and when you get into vibrational proximity of it, you can't buck that current. In other words, there are not enough birth control devices in the world to buck that current. Nice to know. Mostly nice to know.